has shown that Moses fit to be a co-laborer with God. Meaning to say, this partnership agreement has come into existence as a result of the obedience of Moses. Oftentimes, I have seen in churches whereby when they are electing members who will serve as leaders of the church, they talk about he who has connections. It is all about who has connections, who can move, who can get things moving because he has connections. He is connected to people. But the truth of the matter is, God will rather work with an obedient person. It should not be about who has the connections. It should not be about who is more influential. It should be about who is obedient to God. Because Moses, as a result of his obedience, God chose him to be an ambassador of heaven in the land of Egypt. And today we are called to be ambassadors of heaven in this world, this dark world, this dying world. Only when we obey the Lord can the Lord see us that surely they fit to be ambassadors of heaven. Let us obey the Lord, and we will be co-laborers with God. The Bible says, you are standing on holy ground. Question. What does it mean you're standing on holy ground? You need to understand that the ground was not holy in terms of chemical property. In terms of chemical property, the ground is not holy. Actually, it is the presence of the Lord there that caused the ground to be holy. Wheresoever God is, the atmosphere changes. Wheresoever a Christian comes, the conversation ought to change. Wheresoever a Christian comes, the TV channel ought to change. When God stepped in, the ground became holy. It is the presence of the Lord that makes the place holy. The ground was not holy in terms of chemical property. No. The moment God appeared, the ground became holy. What does it mean? Only when God is in our homes and our churches will those places be holy places. But the moment the Lord is in neither, then we have just gathered without his presence. The story is told about a certain man who visited a certain church, and then this man, he went to that church. As he went to that church, after the service ended, one of the leaders of the church came to him and said, "My friend, it's very good that you came to visit us, but why don't you consider God, asking God if you should come and worship with us, because there are other churches." The reason why the leader of the church said that is because the man was looking all scrappy. He was just looking unpleasant to behold. That this is a man who came to worship, and he came in this lovely church with people who are well dressed. And so the leader of the church told him that, why don't you consider asking God if this is the exact church where you need to worship? And then he said, okay, fine, I can do that. So the man went, and then the next day he came, and then the leader of the church asked him, "So have you spoken to God?" And then he said, "Oh yes, I have spoken to God, and this is what God told me. God said I should not bother coming back because he has never been here." God has never been there. After all, if you can tell a scrappy man to consider another church, that is the first evidence that God is not here. It is the presence of the Lord that makes the place holy. I want you to notice what is happening here. The Bible says, "Remove your sandals, the ground is holy." Moses did not question if the ground was holy or not. In fact, Moses did not question why. Moses did not ask, "What is wrong with my sandals?" He did not ask that. Actually, Moses demonstrated the faith of a child. God said remove, Moses removed. Even if there was nothing wrong with the sandals, Moses removed. That is where we see the faith of a child. God said it, I will do it. Because when you look at how old was Moses, when you go to Acts chapter 7, verse 22 to verse 20 to 22, the Bible says Moses was actually 40 years of age already. Not 40, 80, around 80, yes. Because by the time he left Egypt, he was already around 40, and then 40 years in the wilderness, 80. So at the age of 80, Moses demonstrates the faith of a child. God said remove, I will remove. Even if you don't see anything wrong with it, if God says let it go, let it go. If God says remove, remove. Even if you don't see anything wrong with it, God said it, I will remove. And then the Bible says, as I close, I want you to notice what the Bible says. The Bible says, you know, one of the ways of doing Bible study is this. Ask yourself what the verse does not say. That is very important. Ask yourself what the verse does not say. What does the verse not say? The verse does not say, remove because I am holy. The verse says, remove because the ground is holy. Meaning, the object of focus is not God but the ground. What does that mean? It means because God stepped there, because God appeared there, because God is there, automatically the ground becomes holy. It becomes his territory. So in other words, what is God saying? God is saying, Moses, you are stepping on my holy property. Remove. So meaning the command is not so much, it's not only about acknowledging God as God, but it's also about acknowledging God's property. Remove because the ground is holy. What does it mean? We ought to show reverence to God's things. The things of God are very important. Let us not play with the things of God. Whether it's church property, whether it's church belongings, let us take care of them. God's things are important. Even the bodies that we have, it is God's. Protect it. Take care of it. Remove because the ground is holy. Beloved church, the message is trust and obey. For there is no other way to be happy in Jesus but to trust and obey. Blessed is the man who obeys the Lord. Happy is the man who obeys the Lord. Why? Because when he obeys the Lord, he is free from a guilty conscience. And blessed is a preacher who keeps it short.